Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 191.
191.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. They are our official travel agency. Definitely check them out. You can also sign up on their website for the newsletter so that you can find out ahead of time what the best Disney deals will be.
And deals for everything, worldwide.
Right.
Not just Disney.
Not just Disney, but I believe the newsletter is more Disney based. So if you're looking for a good deal on travel, I would check them out.
Also, our original sponsor, Theme Park Connection.
They are heading out to Anaheim for the Disneyana Convention show and sale, which I believe is on the 16th because the 17th is Disneyland's birthday.
And it's 61 years old.
61.
Can you believe it? Disneyland is turning 61. So also, if you do go out there and you go to the show and sale, mention Mousesteps and you'll get 10% off your entire purchase. So just tell them Mousesteps sent you.
I like a deal.
Me too. And we also have a special message for the couple that you're seeing here. One of the first people we met after we started the show.
Right. Jason and his wife, Sarah, had stopped us at the Wilderness Lodge. I think they are the first of anybody who stopped us for the show specifically. And it was her birthday on June 29th. We had already recorded the show when I got his message for last week. So happy birthday to Sarah.
That's right. Happy birthday, Sarah. Hope it's a great one, or it was a great one.
Now we're heading to Disney Springs, which we've spent a ton of time at lately because the Coca Cola Store opened. We received a message the day beforehand from their PR saying tomorrow, and that was on July 2nd.
I feel like we almost live at Disney Springs.
It feels like
it's our place to be.
It's been a few days now since we've been there, and I think we're going back not till Friday. And
all the way till Friday.
Wednesday, so.
Anyway, the Coke store was really cool, especially if you're a collector of Coca-Cola merchandise. There is tons of it there.
And I really like this store, even though I don't really drink Coke. I drink a little bit of Sprite, but I don't do a lot of soda, but it was really a lot of fun.
This thing is very cool. It looks like the Coca-Cola bear's feet. You can get some nice slippers from the Coca-Cola bear. Did you see those?
I did see them. I took a picture of them. There's also merchandise, Orlando merchandise, quite a lot of it. There's 3 floors here. 2 floors include merchandise and a ton of different items. And then on the top floor, we'll see is a rooftop bar that has beverages, and they will have alcohol soon as well.
Right. I like those nice sleepwear, the Orlando sleepwear. I might have to consider that in the future. Tons of bears, tons of stuff. No trouble shopping, that's for sure.
And I like the Orlando Tervis. There's actually 2 of them, but one of them I like better than the other. We're kind of like collectors of Tervis. We don't usually collect a lot. We're going very fast here.
We are flying.
We didn't go this fast.
Well, it's actually quite a long walk up and around. Walk. So I sped it up a little bit, and you can see beautiful views looking out the window. Just a really nice addition. The building itself is a nice addition to Disney Springs.
Nice views looking out the window, but when you get to the top, you don't have a window. You actually, have the rooftop. So,
well, by the time you get to the top, you need some refreshment, and nothing says refreshment like an ice-cold, chilled Beverly float.
And that is what I told Jeff he should get that, because they said that any of the international flavors you could make a float. And why wouldn't you get a Beverly float?
Why wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't get one.
They said I was the first one ever to order such a thing, so that was an honor. Anyway, we'll look at that later. I know it just opened, but they were talking worldwide.
Oh, worldwide. I don't know. How do you even know?
I do not. But the views are spectacular from up here. I can definitely see us sitting out and enjoying. Unlike some of the other places, you don't have to spend a ton of money to dine there.
You could spend $3 on a drink,
That's right.
So I like that.
And I'm not sure if we mentioned where this is located.
Now, we did see it was close to the AMC theaters on one side. It is across from the Orange Garage, and they say it's in the town center, though it really borders the west side as well.
So the first thing we're going to take a look at is the Taste of the World International Sampler here.
And there are 16 drinks, 16 different sodas, and that is $8. And they're actually really decent sized pours. It's not like they're a tiny little sample cups.
Correct. And what's different is at Epcot, they also have a Epcot version of this called Club Cool, and there you can fill up the cups as many times as you want. Here, they give you a good size. You don't really want to fill them up. There's so many sodas. I mean, we had trouble finishing these 16 sodas, so it's a little different.
Well, they say it's really meant for like 3 or 4 guests, and I don't drink a lot of soda, so you were drinking this by yourself. There was a lot left over, and everybody we knew who had like 1 or 2 guests were doing the same thing.
But the real excitement is here. That is the very first Beverly Haagen-Dazs ice cream soda. It was delightful.
It was, you know what? To me, it wasn't delightful. Jeff was like, "Oh, at least just try the ice cream," and I did, but it tasted like Beverly was soaked into it, and because I don't like Beverly,
to the goodness.
No, it didn't add to the goodness. But I thought it would be good. I mean, it's $3.75 right now, and a manager said they could go up a little bit in price for the floats, but I think the $3.75 was a good deal.
And it doesn't have to be Beverly either. It can be any flavor that you'd like. Now, I know you have some other information. What else do you have?
Well, the Coke store was modeled after a 1920s bottling plant, and there is also a 30-foot wide glass chandelier crafted by repurposed Coca Cola bottles.
We saw that on the way in, yes.
Yes, and that's actually a very nice one. I wouldn't have guessed it was Coke bottles.
Oh, look at this. Limited edition, only $29.95.
Well, we didn't end up
only
buying
500
anything.
of those suckers.
500. And we saw a lot of people buying
That's for sure.
merchandise,
Trays
including
worth of
these.
them.
Yes. And also, the polar bear is supposed to start meeting, they say early August, except that the manager told us maybe the end of July. So within a few weeks or so, we should start seeing the polar bear.
And we have met the polar bear at IAPA before, and he was tremendous.
Yes, I know you loved
Absolutely.
him.
He ate my hat, literally ate my hat. So,
and there's the polar
bear.
bear.
There he is, Tervis, too.
And the Tervis wall, there's so much Tervis there. Also, here is the polar bear coming soon. Again, we're just looking at about probably 3 weeks from now.
We'll have a lot more when he arrives. Now, though, we're going to jump ahead to the Hangar Bar, Jock Lindsey's Hangar Bar, one of our favorite places. They have changed the menu there.
A lot.
And we're talking about the food menu, the drink menu, completely unchanged. One of our favorite items, though, the snack of Ra, has gone away for good, joining the deviled eggs and the good dates.
And a number of other items, I think, since the place opened.
And when we were there, they didn't quite have the new menu ready, so you can see it's a very thin book with just the prices. Here's the first one we're going to talk about, though.
This is a new item, and this is my favorite of the new items. It's called the Temple Tenderloin, and it's sliced beef tenderloin stacked. They say stacked high. It's not really stacked high.
It could be higher.
And it's on a toasted baguette, and then it has other items on it. But it's like a French dip.
Very much like a French dip.
And I really enjoyed this. It is also the most expensive item on the menu.
$17. By the way, the fries, phenomenal. Awesome fries.
All of it was excellent.
And falafel. Here is a falafel item.
Well, they call it Salah's falafel, and it's a sweet potato falafel. I'm not big on sweet potatoes. I like them, so I enjoyed it, but it's not as good for me as the previous falafel.
Right. Well, the previous falafel we're about to see, but that was a taco that was called the Tanis tacos, and I also preferred them. Here's a quick look at the Tanis tacos.
Love
They
those.
were wonderful. Now, the new tacos are a fish tuna type taco, and not something that you would necessarily have.
The Tanis tuna tacos.
Oh, they're still called Tanis.
Yes.
Okay, Tanis tuna. Mm-hmm. My biggest issue with them is the price.
Well, it's $15.
Right. I mean, they're good. They're very good, but they're small. They're tacos. The tuna was obviously very fresh, great. I mean, I did like it a lot. It's just for $15. It's a lot of money.
Well, I don't eat seafood, so I wouldn't really know too much about that. Now, these are the Rolling Boulder Sliders previously, and I really like these. These were probably the one item I bought most on the menu. But the new Rolling Boulder Sliders are a brisket meatball, and that includes a tomato, bacon, jam, house-made pickles, shredded lettuce, and tomato. And they're not bad. They're good. So if you're going in for drinks anyway, I recommend it. But it's not too different than like a regular burger at this point.
It's just like a regular slider with ketchup, basically.
Right, that's kind of what it tastes like. But if that's what you're looking for, there's nothing at all wrong with it. They're tasty.
So let's sum up the new menu.
Well, previously, there were 4 items I really liked and would rotate. Now there's just really 1 or 2 that I would order, so probably I'd be there a little less often.
And we should mention the chef did say that they will probably have a chicken option for the tacos, and that would be a little less expensive. And you can have chicken on the flatbread coming. Mm-hmm. So there will be options you can have, not to mention fries, loaded fries as a standalone. So I can definitely see ordering that.
And for people like me, I don't really do the loaded fries, but you'll be able to get the fries, just as a separate appetizer.
Sounds good. We'll have to go back to Jock's and keep checking back and see what they have in store.
That would be great.
So now we're moving on to Epcot for the 4th of July festivities, daytime festivities.
And it was a hot one. It was about 107 is the feels like temperature. So it was like baking outside.
It was definitely brutally hot, but it was well worth it for all the goodness you're going to see. And we got a free Declaration of Independence. How cool is that?
I thought that was nice over at the American Adventure.
Nice touch, and they gave us free little American flags too. And you got to pose with the Happy 4th of July thing there that you like so much.
Well, I thought it was funny because if a woman held it, it almost looks like a bustier if you
Certain
hold it
way.
just right.
It takes a special
They should sell
creativity
those.
to come up with such a thing. This was the highlight of the whole day, though. For me, it was the Voices of Liberty in the patriotic 4th of July concert.
This was really what made my day.
And look at those beautiful roses, red, white, and blue. Fantastic.
Carnations.
Oh, I'm sorry, carnations. I have roses on the...
Jeff doesn't know much about flowers.
Yeah, what do I know?
So here are the Voices of Liberty, and there was 18 voices, and they just did a phenomenal job, as they always do. But I think it was even more special this year.
Well, I always like it when they do Golden Dream, and it's right in front of the American Adventure. It's really amazing.
Well, that's one of my favorite patriotic songs, and then they did God Bless USA. I believe they were doing Yankee Doodle Dandy here as Donald, Mickey, and Goofy came in.
That's right. I always love the characters, and they're actually playing. Goofy is playing the drum there. I don't know if Mickey... Whoa, Goofy had a little fall there.
I don't know if he's actually playing the drum.
Of course he is.
But I, it's funny because with Goofy, you never know if he's really doing an antic or if he just
Goofy.
didn't hit his mark.
Indeed he is. Yes, right. What I like about this is the characters very patriotic. See how they have their hands over their hearts while the Star Spangled Banner is playing? So I always enjoy seeing that part of it too. What a wonderful production.
Well, the Voices of Liberty are really a favorite and such a treasure at Epcot, and I could have given up everything else at Epcot, especially with how hot it was, but this show is wonderful.
And it wasn't that hard to get into. I mean, we showed up maybe a half hour early, and we had the front row, a perfect spot to see it. Again, it was a little sweltering. I think that's probably why it was so easy to get a spot.
Well, Epcot wasn't that busy. World Showcase wasn't very busy while we were there into the afternoon, and that's not unusual necessarily for the 4th of July. Guests tend to come later in the evening for the fireworks.
And here come the characters. The biggest line of the whole day that we saw was the line to meet them.
Yes, that was actually... It would have been Frozen, though, but Frozen was closed again.
It was almost the whole day, it turns out, Frozen was down.
It?
It was only open a few hours. Now, here's a young man we met, Will, who is a viewer of our show. So he helped us interview the characters. I wish we had him around all the time. He did a great job there.
Well, Jeff didn't even ask him to talk to them or anything, but he started with Donald, and all of a sudden he's like talking to him and asking him questions. So just like Jeff would do. So I thought that was very interesting.
It was very interesting and great.
He was terrific.
So we enjoyed hanging out with him, and of course we enjoyed seeing the characters. If you are wanting to see the characters, it's impossible to watch the show and see the characters right after the show. They close the line as the show ends. I talked to one of the cast members, so if you do want to meet them, line up maybe halfway through the show, see a different show, line up halfway through, and again, this is for next 4th of July.
For 1 year from now.
But we met a family, our friends actually, who said they had to go back all the way to episode 11 to get our tips on the 4th of July.
Well,
so,
I thought we've talked about the 4th of July a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe
last
not
2 years we were in Daytona. So it's
I hadn't
been
even
3
thought of
years
that.
since we were at Epcot together for the 4th. So,
Interesting.
it's important to update the goodness.
And no Ben Franklin this year either.
Right. No Ben Franklin. We used to have Ben Franklin, Betsy Ross.
And we have a fun video of Ben Franklin and talk about the Captain of the Americas.
And giving health tips. Very important. So we'll be sure to link to that in the show notes.
And thanks again to William for being the spokesman with the characters.
That's right. Will was awesome. Thanks again.
Yes.
And here are some more characters. It's patriotic Chip and Dale. They had a very long line as well. Yes,
and that was, they were a lot of fun as well. It's very hot out, so I'm very impressed that they were able to stay outside for as long as they did.
Well, they just came back from having a nice cold drink in there. That's what they said they had to do. Oh, there's our friend here, Jeff and Wesley, young Wesley there, meeting the Chip and Dale. So I like the shirt that Jeff is wearing. The salute
Muppets
to
one.
all nations, but especially America.
And you can find that at the Heritage Gifts here at the American Adventure as well.
So anyway, a great time at Epcot, but now we're moving on to Fort Wilderness because it is the Fort Wilderness July 4th Parade, golf cart parade.
And it's been a very long time since we've been here for the 4th of July at Fort Wilderness. And I see our friend Susie in the front there, along with Donald Duck, who looks kind of like Davy Crockett.
That's right. I call him Pioneer Donald. He looks great, and we get to meet him later. And there she is. It was nice to be yelled out Mousesteps at the very beginning of the parade.
That's how every parade should start.
And it has. It has for the last couple.
So now a lot of the golf cart parade was almost as big as Halloween this year. At least it seemed that way to me, which was a surprise. There's a lot of patriotic carts, but there's also a number of Disney themed carts, which were a lot of fun. We have the Statue of Liberty made her way from New York.
Very impressive. And speaking of impressive, the Tsum Tsum cart here, one of our favorites. Probably our favorite.
It was my favorite, and I was surprised it didn't win anything. But the Miles family have this cart. Those used to be costumes. Last Halloween, they wore those Tsum Tsums as costumes. And Michelle Miles had written to me about those, and they were repurposed for the golf cart.
Tremendous job.
Yes.
We loved it. And look at these guys. You have Lightning McQueen and Mater. And I think Mater did win the best Disney cart, I think.
Right. So, and there was one that was like a beach theme that received an award, and I don't remember what the other one was. But we do have the awards on our full video.
Right, we're going to link to that as always on the show notes. But we just love the golf cart parades. And there's another one from Finding Nemo, Finding Dory.
I wonder if that one was the one that won. That's like a beach theme cart. And also you have like Mickey on a lot of them. Tons of flags, sometimes like full size flags. Certainly a lot of patriotism, and I just love the golf cart parade.
I was watching TV and they were mentioning that patriotism is down, very much down in America. But if you're at Fort Wilderness, there is full patriotism there. It is tremendous. So much red, white, and blue. It just makes you feel good to be there.
Well, I felt that way at Epcot as well. We also had, you had a fire truck and a police car. I like that they have the red, white, and blue in the fire truck window as well.
Yeah, the fire truck kind of reminds me of a hometown, like a 4th of July parade, something you'd get in your town. So I really like that. Again, I wouldn't be any place else. I love being at Fort Wilderness. We're there for all the holidays. We're there for Christmas and for Halloween Day.
Well, you said you wouldn't be anywhere else, but you're usually at NASCAR.
Well, 2 years. 2 years. Only a few times here. And here comes Pioneer Donald to award the winner.
Well, they had a beach bash here. Like you could buy different food items, and here Donald is posing with winners. But they had all kinds of stuff going on here, like watermelon eating contests and games, and it went on, I think, through almost fireworks time.
Oh, it absolutely
went on. Many
went on.
hours of fun for guests.
And other resorts also offer these things, but this beach party looked like a great time. Although, again, it was swelteringly hot.
Yes.
So we retreated to the air-conditioned goodness of our house after this.
I think Fort Wilderness is a little more extensive as far as any of the other resorts. In part, that's kind of their, guests go there and they live there, sometimes even for like months at a time. Also, you have, we met, as you call him, Pioneer Donald, Davy Crockett Donald, or whatever you'd want to call him.
Right, and I don't want to forget to mention that we had Trails End to Go, another thing I highly recommend. Trails End to Go chicken dinner. It's only like $10. I think it was $12 after we upgraded to all white meat.
No,
it was wonderful.
The $12 was because we also got some extra cornbread.
Aha, yeah, I can't forget that. So anyway, here we are talking to Pioneer Donald, and he was telling me it was the 4th of July, so I told him it's a good thing it wasn't the 5th of July. He runs out of fingers, but he came up with a way to say 5th of July there. So
yes.
It was pretty good. And now we're moving on. We didn't stay for fireworks because it was too hot, but we're still going to look at fireworks. We're going to talk about the Star Wars Galactic fireworks show.
Well, it's called Star Wars: A Galactic Spectacular. This is at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Jeff waited for like an hour.
Well, I want to show you. You need to be in front of those two towers that you saw there, right about, well, not here. There's you texting as usual, but you want to make sure that you get a good, there's very limited good spots here. If you're behind those towers, cast members were telling me you might as well just go outside and watch it, from the water area, because you cannot see the fireworks unless you are in front of those towers. Very important.
Well, I saw some of the fireworks. What I did is Jeff was right here. I went and I rode Toy Story Mania, because there was like a 10-minute line, and came back. And at the last second, I got a spot to the right-hand side, kind of underneath trees. So I didn't really see the fireworks as well, but I still saw some of what was going on the Chinese theater.
To really see the show properly, I can't emphasize enough, though, put in the time, get there an hour and a half early, get in front of those two projection
If you want to
systems.
see it like you're seeing it here.
Again, yes, you can see here from this video that the fireworks are way over to the right. So if you're down Sunset Boulevard, you're down the street, or Hollywood Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
If you're down Hollywood Boulevard, you cannot see them at all because of the trees. And you really want to see all these great projections and lasers and fire effects. The only way to do that is if you get in front of those projectors. So I can't tell you enough. It's a great show. It's a multimedia show, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a fireworks show. It's more of a, as I said, a multimedia production.
Right. And it's not like if you go to Epcot and you get there late for illuminations, like everybody has a good spot for illuminations. You can always find something. But here it is not the case. Where Jeff, spent like an hour and a half, which I didn't want to do. I want to go off to somewhere else.
You had the benefit of watching this video here, so you don't have to
it's
bother.
much better. It's much better for me in this way. Plus, you never know if guests will get in front of me, and then I won't get the good shots anyway with the camera. So I didn't see this well. This is something that you really need to be where Jeff was, or a little bit ahead.
And what do you think of this? I mean, now that you're seeing it, this is probably the first time you're actually seeing what it looks like. What is your impression of these screens here? I mean, you have to admit, that is pretty spectacular.
Well, I did see screens, but if you look over to the right-hand side, I didn't see them like this. I was over on the right-hand side. So the Chinese theater is fairly, big. So you could be over to the left or the right and you'll see something. But you really want to be more towards the center to see it this way.
Right, because you also have the two sound stages to the left and to the right. I mean, I was pretty far back and my camera did not get the full everything in there. So it just shows you how much... Oh, and these fire effects are those are very new. They when the show first started, they weren't quite ready yet.
So I didn't really see the fireworks because on the right-hand side, and this is where cast members will tell you to go to see everything, but you don't really see the fireworks so well.
Wait, what is that?
To the right-hand side, like I was to the right.
Oh, the cast members were telling you to do that?
Yes, and closer to the Brown Derby, the cast members were like, keep going. You want to get closer so that you can see the Chinese theater.
We had such a different experience, where me waiting where I was and then you just doing a last minute to walk up. And I'm glad, because this way we can sort of talk about how it worked for both of us.
Well, I got my best score ever on Toy Story Mania, so it was totally worth it, and if I had gotten there just a few minutes earlier, I could have maybe gone around a second time because it was only 10 or 5 minute wait at that point. And Toy Story Mania does still run up until the time of the fireworks.
And we were told the reason that the fireworks are on the extreme right like they are is because they moved the launching area, and that is because of construction for Star Wars Land. And one good benefit of that is they don't have to close the backlands down part of the park. They used to have to close it.
Including Toy Story Mania used to have to close early, and it
you
doesn't
were able
anymore.
to ride it with almost no wait, and that's partially because that there's 3 theaters now, or 3 tracks running. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that is our quick review of the new Star Wars Galactic Spectacular. It was a great thing. To me, it was worth seeing once, and I'm glad I did it.
And I would see it again, but I, would try a different,
I wouldn't wait the full time after seeing it that way fully.
Thank you very much to Mouse Fan Travel. Definitely check them out for great rates on Walt Disney World and other Disney vacations.
Also, our original sponsor, Theme Park Connection. Check them out. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.